right, looks like we're up on X as well. Howdy, Quai boss. How'd you beat me in here, man? Oh man. All right. Nice. Looks like we're recording this. Awesome. All right, bear with us one moment, folks. If you're hanging out with us on Twitter, while we get some of the engineers in here, FYI, we are simulcasting, coming to you live from Discord, actually. So, if you are building on Quai Network, thinking about building on Quai Network, you've been diving into the documentation, taking a look at the GitHub repos, and you have questions, thoughts, comments, slide into our Discord server. The chat is always lively and fun, but we'll be prioritizing questions over there. And then if we have time near the end of the space, I'll check out the Twitter comments. So while we get this fired up, feel free to smash that like button, shoot out a retweet, and we'll get this started shortly. Meanwhile, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up an X post with a link to the Discord here so you guys can slide in. Stand by. Developer Q&A is now live on Quai Networks. Discord. Tap in to get all your questions about building on Quai answered. Who's building? I was peeking the conversions dashboard earlier today. Some pretty big opportunities out there for those who have the mind and the will to find the way to capitalize on all those opportunities. Maybe we can spend some time talking about that. Let me get this post up. Put this pin to the top of the space here. Seems like my X app on Android's coming around. I'm slowly regaining all my powers. Heck yeah. We can now share to spaces again and pin some tweets. There we go. All right. So for those of you hanging out with us on X, if you want to join the conversation, we are simulcasting from Discord. Check out that pinned tweet. It's got a link that'll send you right into our Discord. The event is live. We're up and rolling here. So I'm going to go ping the engineers real quick, see if we can't bring either Jonathan or Dr. K in here interim. I've been cutting my teeth on the SDK. So if you got any Quai's SDK questions or even RPC questions, I've been experimenting with running RPC nodes as well, some D-pool stuff. I'm getting a lot more useful these days, so feel free to ask any and all developer or builder questions you might have. All right. Okay, so they've been pinged officially. If they come up on stage, we'll dive in with them. Oh, I see Jonathan here. Let's shoot him an invite. Kishore, per usual. It's a long list of community questions. Really appreciate your ambassadorship, Kishore.
GM.
Hey, there he is. What's up, Jonathan? How you doing? How was your weekend?
It was good. I worked on some cool projects. Excited to kind of release one in a few minutes here. Some of you might have seen it already. It's an AI bot, Discord, and I'm going to be releasing that in a little bit here.
Heck yeah. Well, right on. Let's see here. We are live on X. We got some questions in the chat. Do you want to just kick it off with that? Like, what do we expect to see in Discord here pretty soon?
Yeah, very soon you'll be able to talk to our QU AI Discord bot, and it will answer any questions you have about Quai. It's knowledgeable about just about everything. Just putting the final touches on it right now. and I'll just make kind of an announcement when it's available. But you can have any conversation you want with it. It'll answer questions about, about tokenomics. It'll answer questions about the protocol, design, technical stuff, decentralization. You can compare it to other projects. You can ask it questions about a Caspa if you want to and how we differ. You can ask it to fetch block data. You can ask it to fetch balance data, conversions data. I'm adding the ability for you to ask it for CoinGecko data as well. So you can ask, what's the current market cap of Quai? Things like that. It's going to make it really, really easy for a new user to hop in here and just have their questions answered by a bot if a moderator is not available to answer questions. So it is a little bit annoying because it does answer questions a little bit more thoroughly than I'd like sometimes. So trying to figure out a way to make it so that the responses are not so long. I did tell it not to, but sometimes it just decides to make a really long response. I guess it just depends on what you ask. If you ask like a really complicated question, it just feels like it has no choice but to answer you in like 2 separate massive messages. So for basic things, it works pretty well.
Heck yeah. Awesome. Yeah, really looking forward to that. I know our ambassadors and moderators put in a ton of work and effort, but hopefully this will help expedite things and onboard new folks into everything we're building over here. We got some cool stuff, some really innovative tech, and so hopefully that can speed things up for all y'all. Hopefully the ambassadors and moderators absolutely love it. Hopefully the new community members get a kick out of it as well. It's super cool. Like, did you say it can actually like query Quai RPCs and get on-chain data?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it has access to the Quai RPC. It has access to the conversion data. It has access to CoinGecko. It doesn't have access to the full internet, though. I did have to restrict that. We might open it up to the full internet. It just kind of depends on the kinds of questions that people ask.
Sure.
If people ask questions that it does need the full internet for, like, we'll give it access. The problem is there's like websites on the internet that have wrong information about Quai. So I don't want it to give you bad information if it's pulling from a website that's wrong. So like a lot of websites, for example, have incorrect tokenomics information, incorrect investor, like seed round, whatever information. Some websites describe Quai like incorrectly. They don't understand the protocol. It's a complex thing, right? The Quai is not a simple thing to understand. In fact, most of you probably still don't entirely understand everything we've done just because it's complex. And it's like hard to understand for, especially for newcomers.
Right.
So getting, an AI to understand it is also difficult, but if you guide it in the right direction, it works pretty well. But the problem is if it gets outside information from the internet, it could be wrong. And that's kind of the problem that we're currently like trying to fix, right? It's a communications problem, right? That's like one of our top priorities is communication. Getting the word out, but also helping people understand Quai at an in-depth level, even if they're not super technical, and just understand like the trade-offs between different blockchains and all this stuff. I mean, it's an education thing. But there's still, websites or blog posts out there that have incorrect information or misleading or outdated or whatever it may be. So, but yeah, like I said, it will have access to the Quai RPC. It'll have access to conversion data, and it'll have access to CoinGecko.
Heck yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's wise. Keeping it off the broader internet for the time being. Who knows what the community can get this bot to pull up. So, love it. Awesome. Last question I got. Does the bot have a name?
Yeah, that's the name, man. What do you think about the name? QUAI. Come on.
Oh, that makes sense. Perfect sense. It's the QUAI. I got it.
Yeah,
man.
it's the QUAI. Yeah.
Heck yeah. Okay, rock and roll. Really appreciate that, Jonathan. Really looking forward to that. You were working on a few more things over the weekend. Maybe we can get into that a little bit later. I know we're crafting some news around some progress we've been making on the developer front. But interim, Keithro's got a number of questions about the controller, it seems, collected from the community. You ready to dive in?
Yeah, sure. I'm not the one who authored the recent, it's still a PR. I still have to finish review. I can try to answer questions about the new fork. I'm not entirely up to speed on it. I'll do my best.
Okay. Fair enough. That is definitely Shrikar and Carl's baby. So maybe if we can't get clarity for
Dr.
you guys.
K, yeah, Dr. K, if we can get up here, I don't know if he's available, but he's the one who'd be able to answer the best about the new update because I still have to complete my review, so I can't. I mean, he'd be able to explain it much better than I can, but I'll give my best shot at it.
Cool. Yeah, I was going to mention we can always re-ask these questions on Wednesday during the Tech AMA with the man himself. Rock and roll.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. First question. Does the new update effectively mean that when Quai emission drops, miners reallocate hash towards Qi, which then lowers Quai's difficulty and restores profitability, or is that an oversimplification?
Effectively, yes. When the update goes through, I mean, it's already more profitable to mine Qi, but the update will kind of incentivize miners to switch to Qi even more. But I mean, basically, the update halves the Quai emissions. It brings it back to what it was when we first launched. So yeah, if you weren't aware, Quai emissions have doubled since we launched due to the controller. Basically, when the price of Quai goes down, the controller increases the emissions rate to keep up with the price of Qi to like make the price of Qi stable. So even if the price of Quai changes, it'll go up, it'll go down. The emissions will change appropriately. So like if the price of Quai goes up, the emissions actually go down. But my understanding is that they detected that the controller does it a little bit too strongly, so they have to dampen it. But also that means that we are going through halving. We're going to halve the emissions. And that does change our long-term, emission schedule and stuff like that. It's possible that we'll have to update the tokenomics and stuff. I'm not super sure what the long-term outlook would look like after this change, but it does halve emissions, which may make Qi more profitable to mine. That remains to be seen, but I think it will make Qi more profitable to mine.
At least in the short term, at these current prices, I think is a fair statement, right?
Yes. It's already technically more profitable to mine Qi, but when you halve the emissions of Quai, right, like mining Quai becomes half as profitable, kind of. So you kind of have to mine Qi in that situation if you want to maintain profitability at current levels. We might see a decline in hash rate as a result of miners, just not really wanting to switch, which is fine. I think what we've kind of determined is that, as the price of Quai remains low, it becomes more and more difficult to peg Qi or to bring Qi to $1, right? So the controller has basically a tough time doing this kind of market mechanism or control mechanism when the price of Quai is too low. So we actually basically, in order to have Qi more stable, we have to have a larger market cap. That's basically the problem. So if we want a larger market cap, we can't have the controller trying to adjust the emissions at the current levels, okay? So what we have to do is wait until, the controller will still be active to some degree, but what they've done is they've dampened it to be less responsive to price changes until the market cap of Quai is large enough such that we can support the protocol native stablecoin, which is Qi. So right now this controller will sort of, still act in a way that will bring it, but it'll be a lot more dampened. And then once we get to a large enough market cap, then everything will be a lot more stable. And we won't have to worry about this kind of crazy volatile price action in Quai that would cause the controller to just kind of be unable to properly calibrate Qi. That's what this update does, right? It halves the emissions of Quai. It will make it more profitable to mine Qi likely, but at the same time, it's dampened, so it is not going to react as strongly towards Quai price movements until Quai market cap becomes much larger, so that we can actually support the market for Qi.
Got it. Okay. I have a question, personal one, and then maybe a side quest that could help us educate both miners and builders right now. Quick question first is how big of a role do market makers play in the situation currently, and then what do you think their role becomes, or does it change at all, like post upgrade?
Either way, the role of market makers is to calibrate the system faster than the controller can. There's obviously a very high incentive right now if you hold Chi to swap it to Quai, just because there's I think right now it's 50 to 1 or something. I have to look at it again, but I think it's 50 Quai per Chi, which is that's crazy, right?
Yeah.
When we originally designed the protocol, our target was a 1 to 1. So it's 1 to 50 now. It's that's not where we wanted to be. And so what we're going to do is adjust the controller such that when we get back to 1 to 1, we'll have a much more stable system, and then we can have the controller act a lot more quickly. We'll remove all the dampenings and all the stuff. The controller will act a lot more directly and a lot more quickly when there's a 1 to 1 ratio versus a 1 to 50, right? Or a 1 to 100 or something. That's just not a good and not a stable system, I guess. The system becomes much more stable as the market cap increases and as the ratio is more at parity. So that's kind of what we're aiming towards. But yeah, in both situations, the market makers are essential. But in this period, where the controller is not as active, I think market makers probably are more important, just because the controller won't be able to kind of bring the emissions or move the emissions in such a way that would make them less important, I suppose, if that makes sense. Sure. I think in every situation, we need our market participants. You can call them market makers, but they're really just market participants that see a profit opportunity and take it. But they're just not really doing it right now, and so we need to build better tooling for that. But yeah, they're important in either case.
Awesome. Thanks, Jonathan. And I kind of wanted to highlight that because, yeah, I saw, that I think it's at 56 to 1 now, if you're converting Chi to Quai via the protocol, which is, man, I just refreshed it. It's at 57.3 now. And then I was looking on Quai Swap. Let me pull this one up. And there's a pretty big delta there, right? So 1 Chi, wrap Chi on Quai Swap, nets you 15.6 Quai. And so to me, that's a huge arbitrage opportunity. And, I'm kind of starting to realize, if somebody wanted to take advantage of this arbitrage opportunity today, it's not that easy. And so, first of all, huge opportunity today. There would still be an opportunity post upgrade. But I think the step that's missing, currently in Pelagus, if that was your tool, is just the unwrapping Chi function. So quick question here. Do we know when that function is coming to Pelagus? And then interim, I believe wrap. Okay, cool. The other thing I was going to drop for our builders down here was the repo for the wrap Chi contract, because if you're familiar with Quais and you're already building on Quai Network, interacting with this contract is openly available to you. I was testing it out the other day. So anybody who's got the chops for it can take advantage of the arbitrage opportunity right now. They don't have to wait for that function to be live in Pelagus. So there's that repo. And then I believe, let me try to find the actual function, and then we'll move on to the other questions. I don't want you guys to miss out on this opportunity. Let's see here. I think it is Unwrap Chi right here on line 85. So let's see here. I think it's pound L or yeah. All right. We'll highlight this. Cool. Awesome. Okay. I really appreciate that, Jonathan. Thanks so much for walking through that. I think that adds some key context here. Okay. Next question on deck. How do you expect miners to react to the scheduled ratio reductions every 2 months? Do you anticipate steady reallocation of hash or sharp swings around the cut dates?
I think miners will either mine Chi more or they will, suck it up and continue mining. They also might mine other coins instead. That's fine. Until I guess Quai or the controller gets back to a more stable equilibrium, we might see a reduction in hash rate. We're okay with that because it's temporary. The controller will eventually get back to where it was, when we first launched. It'll be at a state of equilibrium, and at that point we can have like a more stable quantity ratio. I think it's good for the long-term success of the protocol. But yeah, miners are going to do what they're going to do. They're either going to mine Qi, they're going to continue mining Quai, or they're going to mine something else.
Good points. Good points. I'm also just, like all of that, if you have the mindset of a market maker or somebody who is interested in these arbitrage opportunities, we talked a lot about this during Golden Age. There's yet another arbitrage opportunity with this upgrade coming up, and the changes. It seems like we have scheduled ratio reductions every 2 months. Is that correct, Jonathan, with this new upgrade?
Yes. The K-Quai ratio goes down every 2 months. Yep.
Okay. So
reduce emissions, basically.
So that, potential arbitrage opportunities on the hash rate every 2 months. So there's, there's many ways you can look at this. I think it's super important for people to realize, there's opportunities here. So thanks, Jonathan. Appreciate that. All right. Let's see here. Next question. If Qi emissions grow faster than real usage demand, how does the controller prevent a persistent Qi oversupply from hurting its credibility as a stable transactional unit?
I don't think its stability has to do with emissions. If stability has to do with its value, the emissions are like proportional, right? Like you can't create Qi for less than the cost of production. Okay, unless you have a really efficient GPU, or maybe you have like zero cost electricity. That's fine. There's going to be some people like that. They could also mine Quai for zero cost as well. The idea, though, is that Qi gives you it's tokenized energy. It gives you however much energy you put in, it gives that to you, right? There's no such thing as over emission or over production of them. If the price of Qi goes below $1, then miners will just stop mining it. They won't produce, the emissions will go to zero. So I think that question is just misplaced. That's all.
Yeah, I kind of think about this again from I believe the whole thinking, the whole design here is market incentive driven, right? Like the market should be dictating how much supply of Qi is actually produced. And so, the purpose, it was designed for that purpose, right? So if people are mining it, it's because supply is in demand, and then as soon as additional supply is no longer in demand, people will stop mining it, and then again, another opportunity for market makers to make a profit in raising that price of Qi there. Am I thinking about that correctly, Jonathan?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah.
Okay. Rock and roll. Great questions, by the way. I might follow up with the community after this. I'm just curious, what are we missing? My best guess is like that unwrap Qi function, but I should be able to share. Okay, rock and roll. All right. Next question. Since the end ratio of Quai to Qi is dynamic, but starts halved, what parameters determine how quickly the controller adjusts after miners shift hash allocations?
I think the change makes it 3 times slower, or the speed is like divided by 3, something like that. So it's 1/3 as fast, perhaps you could say. So it definitely will adjust slower, for sure. That's just an important part of our change. We decided that the controller adjusts too quickly given our low market cap. When the market cap grows and we can support, a stablecoin, and there's an actual market for it too, right? There has to be an actual use, an actual market, right? People have to be trading it. Once that exists and we're at a higher market cap, we can support, a faster controller, I suppose, right? Right now we have to dampen it just because our market cap's too low to support, that kind of instrument at that speed, at least. Like, we can still support it to some degree, right? But it's like at that speed. So if we want to make it like a very fast, responsive controller, I think we decided we needed a higher market cap. We needed a more stable ratio. And so, we're making the controller slower by 1/3, or 1/3 as fast, I guess.
Got it. Okay, rock on. Moving on, this is, obviously my favorite question thus far. Do you see arbitragers as the main stabilizers during ratio cuts, or is the minor preference mechanism expected to absorb most of the imbalance?
It's arbitrators, yeah. That's like the main mechanism. The controller is part of it, but it's mostly market participants, arbitrators. Those are also necessary, right? So like all of these things have to be built up in tandem, right? Like the wall has to support it better. We have to get stablecoins on Quai so we can match it with stablecoins. We have to get market participants educated about how it works. Like all these things take time, and like something we've been working on, obviously, but the job's not done yet, so we got more work to do on that front, and we're just giving ourselves more time to complete it. That's all.
Heck yeah. Great answer, Jonathan. We know all of this is on the way. You mentioned, the Pelagus functionality for those folks who want to participate in arbitrage. I'll also remind everybody, we got some big updates on some of the bridges and centralized exchanges coming online real soon. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But yeah, good call out. Okay. Running right along here, we got over the long run. How do you align the pace of ratio reductions with actual key adoption growth so that the supply side doesn't consistently outpace the demand side?
There's not going to be these ratio reductions over the long term. These ratio reductions only happen every 2 months for a maximum of 6 months. So over the long run, the controller does whatever it needs to do to maintain a ratio, but it's not going to be this kind of ratio reduction we're seeing now.
Okay, got it. So we're effectively slowing the controller and having Quai emissions implemented incrementally, every 2 months over the next 6 months. Did I summarize that correctly?
That's my understanding. Yes, that's my understanding.
Okay, rock and roll. Cool. And then as market cap and more market makers come into the ecosystem with these additional unlocks, we could speed the controller back up effectively at that point. Would that be a fair assumption?
Yep, that's right.
Holy cow, I'm starting to wrap my head around this. Great questions, Kishore. Okay, let's see here. Next one. In the early stages, could volatility in Qi during ratio cuts hurt its image as a stable currency? I think this is kind of like a mental hurdle here that I'm kind of sussing out from some of these questions, is that it's designed to be a stable currency with mature, efficient markets, right? So it's the design depends on mature and efficient markets in order to be a stable currency. So until we achieve that, the volatility is kind of expected. Is that a fair assessment, Jonathan?
Yeah, you said it perfectly. I mean, that's basically what I was going to say. I mean, like until we get miners who act rationally, until we get market participants who act rationally, who are, in the interest of profit, in the interest of arbitrage, until we have these tools built out that allows them to do this easily. I was talking to miners and they were like, we want an API, right? We want an API that tells us which coin to mine, which one's more profitable. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. We kind of have it, right? There's the conversions dashboard. There's Quais, which supports conversions data. But I mean, it's just like a little complicated, right? So
sure.
The key here is education and communication. Those are the keys, and that's what we're going to be working on the next 6 months while this is happening. There will be volatility in Qi, probably. There will be volatility in Quai. I mean, hopefully in the upside, right? That'll help us maintain a stable market for Qi. But either way, like there's going to be some volatility in Qi. We need to do better job at education. And then once we get to a point where we're comfortable getting the controller back to a more stable equilibrium and like a faster operating procedure, sort of, like we'll enable that. We'll just change it to be faster. Basically, it'll look like a hard fork likely, and then it'll look a lot closer to a stablecoin. The volatility will be there until then, but like that's like you said it very well. We need an efficient market. We need demand for it outside of just as a coin. Like there has to be people that hold Qi because they think it's stable, right? There has to be like a pool, for example, of Quai. Well, there is a pool of Quai to Qi, I suppose. So we need a pool of Qi to USDT or something. And then we need easy ways for miners to make their choices, to know which choices are rational. And then we need market participants to arbitrage it if the ratio gets off. So yeah, all of this depends on sort of all of the controller assumptions are that the market is rational and is efficient. That is kind of the operating procedure of the controller.
Got it. I'm scrolling down here and just make sure people don't have any follow-up questions. Cloners, I see you. I have some Quais JavaScript I can share for unwrapping, but it looks like it's coming to Pelagus real soon. Kishore mentions people viewing Qi as a stable coin. So yeah, education is the effort we need to get behind now. Cool. Great comments, guys. All right. Speaking on that same vein there, controller design assumes rational miners stop mining Qi below $1. Correct. But if miners act irrationally, how resilient is the system to temporary irrational flows before the controller rebalances? I think what Jonathan is saying is we're making the controller more resilient by having emissions of Quai and slowing the changes that the controller takes on the exchange rate. Did I get that right?
Yeah, that's right. So, I mean, even if irrational miners mine Qi below $1, that doesn't affect the controller. What was irrational is miners just refusing to mine Qi entirely, and then, mining only Quai. And then they would do weird things like they would take hash rate off, put it back on. Like we had 50% swings in our hash rate. I mean, these things, we have to engineer for. The controller has to be updated for it. Right now it's dampened, so like a 50% swing won't do anything. But I think we just weren't, when we were first designing the controller, I just think we weren't expecting a 50% swing in the hash rate. I mean, a 50% swing is like basically at the limit of like proof of work consensus stability. Obviously our DAA, our difficulty adjustment, our consensus, POEM, and everything handled it perfectly. But the controller itself got a little confused when 50% of the hash rate vanished overnight. I think it thought that Quai was like overpriced or mispriced or something like that, or maybe it thought Qi was mispriced. I don't know exactly how it reacted, but it reacted in a way that increased emissions. So yeah, we're going to definitely fix that. But if miners are mining Qi below $1, like that doesn't affect it at all.
Got it. That helps. That helps a lot, actually. Man, great questions. Okay, so we got another one here. With miners now choosing allocation, does that reduce reliance on arbiters to defend Qi's peg, or do arbiters remain the primary stabilizer when Qi trades below $1? Can miners?
Yeah, the arbitrators.
Sorry, go ahead.
The arbitrators are still important for sure. I think I answered that previously. They are still very, very important. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, so regardless of miner preference, the design still depends on arbitrageurs. Heck yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Miner preference is like not a big thing because, I guess now it is, right? There aren't any arbitrators. So you could say that right now miner preference is affecting the controller greatly. But the thing is when arbitrators are active, they can do way more volume than miners can, right? So if a miner can mine, let's say all miners around the world are mining like, I don't know, 10,000 chi a day. I mean, it's less right now. It's certainly less. But like, let's say that that's what they start mining, 10,000 chi a day. An arbitrageur could do 1,000,000 chi a day, right? So like the difference is astronomical in terms of how it affects the controller.
I just love this word now, arbitrageur.
A French word, yeah.
I like it. I like it. Okay. Last question in this vein. If arbitrageurs are expected to step in when chi falls below cost of production, how have we modeled the depth and speed of arbitrage capacity? What if market liquidity for chi isn't deep enough to restore parity quickly? Oh, great question. I was thinking about this the other day. Do we know, I guess, how liquid things need to be in certain situations? I guess is the way I would ask that question.
Well, I mean, like we're saying chi is below $1, right? So it's some market. There's got to be some market, some liquid market where chi is below $1. If we're saying that, oh, like chi is now below $1, that means necessarily that there is some liquid market somewhere that chi is below $1. So an arbitrageur would buy it, and then they would convert it to Quai, right? And then we also assume that there is a liquid market for Quai as well, and Quai has to be relatively stable as well. Doesn't have to be nearly as stable as Chi, but there has to be some relatively stable price of Quai and a liquid market of Quai for them to liquidate and to complete the cycle. But like, yeah, the question presupposes, I think it presupposes a liquid market for Chi where the price is below $1.
Yeah. So when I think through this, when chi's value is below cost of production, there's probably a massive supply in the market. But you bring up a good point in like Quai also has to be relatively stable, or the market maker has to be incredibly sophisticated, right? And this, I was wrapping my head around earlier this morning. You know, with say you have like what we got right now is we got a pool up on QuaiSwap that has minimal slippage, and then you have the protocol, and there's a pretty big delta in between. But anybody looking to capitalize on that is incurring like a 2-week lockup of some sort, either chi to Quai or they're unwrapping their chi to conduct the conversion. So a stable-ish market of Quai would make that a whole lot easier. So that's a good point. Am I thinking about that correctly, Jonathan?
Yep, that's right. Yeah, you need a more liquid pool of Quai and USDT, I suppose, and then a liquid pool of Chi and USDT, and this all becomes a lot easier.
Boom. Love it. Man, great questions all. Let's see here. I'm scrolling down the chat. We got some more down here. I just like cloners. So sorry I haven't shared that code previously. I should have it at my fingertips right after this. So if anybody's looking to interact with the wrap chi contract, there's an unwrap chi function. It's pretty simple. So I'll get that shared out in the developer Discord server shortly following this. Let me drop a link to that developer Discord server for everybody who wants to tune in. I'll probably drop that in one of the channels down there, and I'll ping you, cloners. Looks like he's gonna wait for the Pelagus function. Okay, all right, fair enough. Oh man, all right. Moving on here, we got some more questions. Let's see here. How does the miner preference setting interact with the controller adjustments? For example, if most miners allocate away from chi, does a controller increase chi rewards fast enough to rebalance? Ooh, good question. So
it doesn't exactly work that way now.
Okay, so I was gonna ask it a different way. Like when miners when miners switch from preferring chi to Quai, can you kind of walk through like how the controller reacts?
I think it would probably assume that Quai is overvalued relative to Chi. It would probably try to change the ratio. If the ratio that it thinks if it thinks the ratio is wrong, it'll rebalance. So if everybody's switching to Quai, it thinks Quai is overvalued, I think. But it never changes the ratio or never changes the amount of chi you get per hash. That's fixed.
Okay. Okay, so it would adjust Quai emissions. It'll never adjust chi emissions.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, I'm remembering.
Importantly, like with the new update, like it's not going to take miner preference into account. So like that's no longer going to be a part of the mechanism. Like it will be in the future, I'm sure, but like after this update, it won't be.
Okay. Okay, I remember a doc that I read for Shikara that explained this pretty clearly. So it's called Conversions, but it's a great summary of how the Quai Chi controller maintains equilibrium. So let me drop that down here. And then I had Shrikara review the summary at the very end of that. So hopefully that summary is useful, but the details are definitely in that doc. Awesome. Great questions. Okay. Let's see here. Does giving miners preference risk short-term optimization at the expense of long-term chi adoption? For example, could miners systematically underallocate to chi until it's profitable, making early usage growth harder? Ooh, great question. Let me think about that one for a minute. Did you get that, Jonathan?
I mean, miners are always able to choose whichever coin they want to. Like I said, the controller is not after this update going to take that into account. It's not going to measure miner preference. It could in the future. I mean, I think is that an answer?
Yeah, I mean that's technically like what's happening here. I think what Kishore is kind of asking is could miners effectively systematically under allocate to chi until it's profitable, making early usage growth harder.
We would absolutely not expect a miner to mine chi if it wasn't profitable.
Right.
Like, there's just no expectation there. We wouldn't expect anybody to do anything if it wasn't profitable, or if they didn't think it would be profitable in the future, or something. If they didn't perhaps even speculatively think that it would become profitable. I mean, I would not expect a miner to mine chi under $1. Like, if chi was below $1, I would expect emissions to stop, basically. You can always convert Quai to chi to mint chi, I suppose, but, in terms of a miner's choice, like, they would always do what's rational, what's in their best interest.
Yeah, that's kind of where my head was going. It's, again, market incentive designed. So I think we expect everybody to do their best to act in the most profitable way for them. Which kind of leads us to the next question. Would rational miners end up dynamically adjusting preference every epoch to chase optimal emissions, or do you expect them to set and forget? I think there's populations of both, but long term with tooling and maybe some third party apps, I expect the majority of miners to adjust preference as long as it's profitable. What do you think, Jonathan?
Yeah, I think, they're going to do what's profitable for them. If that requires them to dynamically switch, like, they'll do it. I think mining pools will dynamically switch. I generally, I think miners, like I said, will do what they think is profitable for them. Around these epochs that we're going to introduce, like, yeah, they might do some switching afterwards or something, yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. How does the controller calculate real-time emission adjustments when hash disproportionately flows into Quai? Is it deterministic per epoch or smooth across multiple blocks?
Yeah, so basically the controller is still given like freedom to move. It's just slower. And there's going to be these epochs where the emissions are kind of reduced. So there still is the ability for the controller to drift, so to speak, like based on how hash rate ends up going up or down. I mean, it's the same as it is right now, it's just a lot slower. So you get a lot of hash inbound. You're going to get potentially more Chi minted, potentially more Quai minted. So Quai emissions are like logarithmic relative to hash rate. So like as hash rate grows up, the emissions kind of go up too, but they go up logarithmically, so a lot slower, if that makes sense, than Chi, which is like 1-to-1. It's proportional. Yeah, that's my answer.
Got it. Okay. So ultimately, the controller is analyzing block by block. We are, slowing those adjustments by a third. But then these epochs every 2 months, once the upgrade goes in for the next 6 months, we'll be having Quai emissions.
Yeah.
Okay. Rock and roll. All right. Is there a minimum or dynamic slippage tolerance enforced by the conversion contract, and does it vary based on volatility? Oh, great question.
Yeah, the minimum is 0.2%. It is dynamic though, so it's likely going to be higher right now. It's based on a moving average volume. So as volume picks up, the slippage goes down. If there is no volume, the slippage is high. As you've probably seen, the slippage right now is high just because the volume of conversions is low. As more people start converting and using that system, the moving average of volume will go up, and the slippage will go down proportionally.
Got it. Okay, I'm looking at conversions.quai.network right now, and it looks like 1 Chi to Quai has an expected slippage of 0.29%. If I were to flip that and go from 1 Quai to Chi, expected slippage is 11.76%. Okay. Appreciate that, Jonathan. I'm also aware there are some minimal amounts for these conversions as well, right? I believe it's 10. Is that
I think
correct?
it's like 10 Quai, 1 Chi, or something like that. There's a minimum, yeah. Maybe 100 Quai, 10 Chi, something.
Okay. All right. I was doing some testing. I'll try to nail that one down as well. At least on Orchard, I was able to convert 10 Quai, but I forget how much Chi I needed. Okay, good questions. Great questions. Thanks so much, Kishore. Let me scroll through the chat here a little bit more. Oh, man. Kishore, coming in hot, man. I'm really looking forward to seeing you build something one day. And hopefully, ultimately, be able to meet you and all our ambassadors in person real soon. I know Kishore's working on some cool stuff, y'all. So if you don't follow him on Twitter, definitely check him out. But he's on it today. Great questions. Okay, next one. Let's see here. These questions. Okay. If 1 Chi equals 100 Quai today, what would be the rational mining strategy for maximizing a long-term yield, assuming controller response lags reward adjustment for a few epochs?
If 1 Chi was 100 Quai, you should be mining Chi.
Yeah, I mean, that's the first answer, right?
Yeah, 100%. Even right now, should be mining Chi.
Yeah, well, and the emissions of Quai are what's, effectively being adjusted here. And those are going down. So I mean, I think long-term strategy is still mine Chi until, the price of Quai goes up and the market cap increases. That'll be my short answer.
Yeah. Matt, unfortunately I do have to go to the office right now. I gotta drive there. So it's gonna take me a little bit to get there. I gotta get there by noon. Do you think you'd be able to take the rest of the buttons?
Yeah, no, I think I can handle these. Really appreciate the time today, Jonathan. I know you're not man in the middle on these controllers. I'm not either, but I think we nailed it. So really appreciate the time. I'll go ahead and let you go. Thanks for the time we had today. Any final thoughts for the community before you bounce?
No, I just want to let you all know to watch out or stay, up to date with our updates. We're going to have a bunch of updates coming soon. We got a lot of things in the pipe. We have, obviously, I talked about an AI bot that we're going to be launching today. We have some really cool tech development developments. We've got bridge integration coming really soon. We've got this huge fork that's going to happen this week. We're implementing new opcodes to the EVM. That means you can use the newest version of Solidity with Quai. We're increasing the max code size so you can deploy larger contracts. So Ethereum has like a max code size limit. We're increasing it by 50% so you can launch or deploy larger contracts. So yeah, this new upgrade to the Quai protocol is going to be pretty cool. It's going to be pretty big. It's going to allow you to deploy more complex applications. It's going to make fees more reasonable. I mean, there's a lot of good things coming out of it, so I'm excited for it. So yeah, stay on the lookout. Thanks for your questions.
We need to name it. We need to name it. Think about it. I'll let you go, but I think we need a cool name for this upgrade. Just saying.
Okay, agreed.
Heck yeah. Well, thanks so much, Jonathan. I'm going to read through some of these other questions, do my best to answer them. We are coming up at the top of the hour, so really appreciate Kishore for all the questions and Jonathan for answering up until this point. Let's see here. Kishore is asking, since third-party sites like hashrate.no and what to mine don't account for Quai's dynamic difficulty / emission logic, is there any on-chain signal that miners should reference for profitability instead? Yeah, absolutely. I think every miner should be keeping their eyes peeled to the conversions dashboard. That's an easy one. So I'll drop that again down here in the chat, conversions.quai.network. I totally recognize it's kind of standard operating procedure for miners to just like set it and forget it, connect to a pool, and there's not a lot of pools out there. So just like mad respect to Alpha Pool and Alpha Mine for running the Chi mining pool. I believe they also have a D pool. So if you're a miner and you're trying to figure out how to get your hands on Chi, definitely go check out Alpha Mine. We're going to have some additional options for miners here in the very near future. As Jonathan hinted at, we have some pretty big tech developments outside of just the protocol upgrade that we're super excited to announce here really, really soon. But ultimately, that just kind of expedites, dare I say, the roadmap for some of the features that you see in our light paper. Wink, wink, nod, nod, Nepo Pals, making some great progress over there. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But yeah, miners should be checking out hashrate.no. Totally recognize Chi is not listed on hashrate.no. We have some ideas on how to make that happen. But that's definitely what anybody who's mining on Quai and interested in maximizing their rewards on Quai should be keeping an eye peeled towards. I would be remiss to not shout out one of our big community members, Swim Good, who started the fire on that dashboard. For many appreciations to our community who are building along with us. We would not have that dashboard if it weren't for Swim Good. And that's huge dashboard, tons of information up there. So that would be my answer to that one, Kishore. Let's see here. Next question. Could the Quai conversions page expose API endpoints with effective profitability metrics so external calculators reflect yields correctly? Interesting question. Let me think about this one for a second. Could the Quai conversions page expose API endpoints with effective profitability metrics? So what the conversions dashboard effectively does is just visually display the data from the RPCs, right? And I'll link this doc down there for those who are not familiar with these endpoints. But what you're looking at are base rates and conversion rates with and without slippage. So there's 3 endpoints that provide this data already. You can ping orchard.rpc or rpc.quai.network. And both of these endpoints provide all this data. So there's Quai to Chi, where you provide the amount and the block number. I just use the latest for block number. That'll get you a base rate for Quai to Chi, and then there's a Chi to Quai. Same parameters there. And then there's calculate conversion amount, where you actually set, are you going from Quai to Chi or Chi to Quai, and the amount that you want to convert. And then that will return the expected amount with that slippage included. So to calculate the slippage, you just compare that output to the base rate, right? So here's a link to a base rate. Now, for profitability opportunities, you would need to compare that rate to a secondary market, right? And that secondary market right now is probably going to be Wrap Chi on Quai Swap, right? And so what you would do there, just thinking out loud here, guys, bear with me, is you would need to use Quais to interact with Quai Swap's smart contracts to get the expected rate on that marketplace. So comparing the two marketplaces together would give you potential profitability. Now, if you're just talking about mining, you can look at the conversion rates from the RPCs and make your decision there. I think Cloners, you're actually working on something, right? Let me see here. Oh, you want to see conversions in that dashboard. That would be super interesting. Oh, that would be really interesting. Okay, so I think Cloners, what you're saying here is it would be really cool if the conversion dashboard actually like live streamed the conversions that were happening on chain. And so maybe that would alleviate fears about a dead loop. Interesting. Well, okay, think about this too, right? Now, this is just the protocol, but when you're converting Quai to Chi, you're actually burning Quai and minting Chi, and vice versa, right? So in the protocol, you don't really have to worry about liquidity. It's just that secondary market. You would want to make sure that there's enough liquidity on the secondary market to support. And obviously, I'm talking about like an arbitrage opportunity here at this point. But I love that idea of just live streaming the conversions that are happening. That would be really cool to see. It would definitely demonstrate like the protocol is working, and yeah, it could instill some confidence in folks who are a little concerned about making the jump. Quai's been around for only a little while, and Chi even less than Quai. So is anybody actually doing anything with this? Check out the conversions dashboard. Boom. See those conversions happening. That'd be pretty cool. I love that idea. Rock on. Okay. All right. Let's see here. What else is going on? You guys got great questions, by the way. Keep building. Never stop building. Build through bear market, bull market, sun up, sun down. It's always a good time to build. Hopefully I can do a better job of helping you guys out along the way here real soon. I'll share some code, Cloners. I know you're waiting for Pelagus, but this could be useful. I know you're also working on aggregating some of your chi to make your life easier. So you'll incur a 2-week lock going from chi to rat chi from rat chi to chi. But if you're trying to convert and encountering those refunds that incur additional locks, this will at least be a little more stable for you. All right. Last question for today. I really appreciate the time, folks. Let's see here. Got 2 of them. If sudden miner exit event occurs, say 40% hash rate drops off, how quickly does the controller rebalance emission difficulty to restore equilibrium? Are there caps to prevent overcorrection in one epoch? I think we answered that, Kishore. Let me know if we didn't. But what I heard from Jonathan is, ultimately right now the controller's a little too aggressive, so we're slowing that down until we start to see more rational markets with more market maker activities. We won't know for sure. but don't hold me to that. All right, last question. Sorry. Could ignoring uncle rates in minor preference automation cause systemic underestimation of real yield, especially in expansion scenarios where Quai difficulty spikes? Ooh. Could ignoring uncle rates in minor preference automation, ignoring uncle rates. I don't know why we would ignore uncle rates. Maybe you can expand on that one, Kishore. I'll give you a second here. Interim. I see Rockster's question. Great question. How do we build QNS on Quai? Yeah, unfortunately, QNS domains might not be as active as we had hoped. I'll provide some insight there in a minute. Have to consider uncle rate factor. Most guys think no uncle rates on Quai. Let me read this one more time. I'm not sure I understand it. Could ignore who would ignore the uncle rates? I don't understand who ignores uncle rates. Or are we ignoring uncle rates? Systemic underestimation of real yield, especially in expansion. I'll just say expansions are a net new thing in crypto. Ultimately, even more new in proof of work. So I am really, really looking forward to the day when we expand Orchard and test all these assumptions, and also start to see some of those emergent properties that Dr. K and the team has spoke on in the past. But not. Oh, preference idea for Cheer Quiet if automated. Oh, good question. Well, if when a new shard comes into existence, we know the network adjusts for encouraging folks to mine on the new shard. I don't know how that impacts the preference for Quai and Chi. What we can hang our hat on, though, Kishore, is that the controller only ever adjusts the emissions of Quai. It will never adjust the emissions of Chi. So with that assumption, let's just hope that miners take action on what is most profitable for them. And if there's constant switching, it's likely a good sign. Oh, we got Dr. K up. What's up, Dr. K? I was just about to wrap up.
Hey, man. Can you hear me?
Yeah, got you loud and clear. Man, we have torn through a ton of controller questions. Jonathan did a great job. But actually, while I have you, this last question from Kishore, I could really use some help with. It's regarding expansion. I don't know how much you heard, but I'll just reread the question. Are you ready?
Sure.
Okay. Could ignoring uncle rates in minor preference automation, so in a situation where miners are automating their preference, could this cause systemic underestimation of real yield, especially in expansion scenarios where Quai difficulty spikes?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we got you. Did you hear me?
Yeah, I needed to change networks there. So I mean, ultimately, when expansions happen, the difficulty actually adjusts, assuming the new equilibrium point, if that makes sense. So if sort of double the number of zones, the presumption is that the difficulty actually doesn't or the total hash does not change. So there's like a feature in there that's gonna disrupt Quai adjustment in such a way that it has no net effect
Nice.
on Quai.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So speaking of effects on Quai, we're about to announce like a fork, which is going to adjust emissions a little bit.
Right. We kind of like, I mean, we spent the entire hour kind of talking about this. I'll summarize, effectively what I know currently after talking with Jonathan, and maybe you can add some context there. So ultimately, we found that the controller was a little too reactive, and increasing Quai emissions a little faster than expected for the current market cap and rationality of the market that's currently on Quai. So the upgrade should be slowing controller adjustments by a third, or down to 1/3 of what it was adjusting, and then Quai emissions will be having every two.
It'll be set back to the original Quai number.
Got it.
Which will effectively have what's currently going on. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
But then subsequently, every 2 months, as a mechanism to try to teach rationality to market participants, there's going to be like a 25% reduction to 4 and 6 months.
Okay, got it. And those are upcoming epochs as well, right? An epoch is every 2 months. Is that correct?
I don't know, like what you want to call them. They're like 3 quarters,
Okay,
if you will. So, and the controller will adjust in the interim, but be endogenous shocks to the system in terms of emissions.
right. And so what we were also doing is just like highlighting the importance of folks, who want to profit via arbitrage opportunities, and attempting to predict hash rate changes post upgrade.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, like the problem is the market's not rational relative to Chi yet.
Right.
That is that Chi isn't like on exchanges, whereas Quai is, right? So the idea here is that the controller sort of made an assumption about rationality market participants, which does not yet exist. So we're putting these events in the system that if market participants adjust to them, they will make money. It will also cause the Quai emissions to drop, and ideally teach rationality to the market, such that by the time that they're done, the market becomes rational, and you have both Quai and Chi in the system, and the controller's doing what the controller's supposed to do. So,
rock and roll. We have first time I've seen this individual in our Q&As. Welcome, Rockster. Is asking some questions about building a QNS service on Quai Network. He looked around and saw an opportunity and was curious, what we were kind of looking for from, the foundation in terms of a QNS service. So I went and dug through some of my notes on what we would like to see in a QNS service to fully integrate it into the Quai toolkit. So I'm going to paste that here for Rockster and then just like quickly summarize. Ultimately, we would like to see a few different things out of a QNS like project that we get integrated kit. First one being reverse Dutch auctions for domain names between 3 to 7 character length. This is standard, and it allows for of prime namespaces. So that's pretty important. Additionally, we reserved common names of corporations and governments. This protects these from folks to impersonate them and improves the overall legitimacy and credibility of the name service. We'd also like to see deployments using that allow for upgradability, preparing for network expansion, and service to be available across all network shards. You want to be able to leverage a name no matter what.
You got to update this list a little bit.
Yeah, okay. Let me.
Yeah, so it's not just about it's about working backwards about what available names exist. So maybe like start at 13 letters and like go down. So you eventually, that only happens like later, more aware of it.
Okay.
The other one is, I mean, personally, I think the right way isn't just RDA everything. Something that works, and this is design, is you do a like the open, like I'm like, I like to register this domain, and I put up like this amount of Quai to do so. And then it starts sort of like an open bidding period where somebody can outbid me for it, if that makes sense.
Uh-huh.
So that open bidding period happens, and then it's not an RDA. It's actually what would be called a second price auction. And then based off the win, the domain name goes to the person who like has the second best price, or at the second best bidding price. But then that amount goes under lock on the name. There can be a fee associated with this, or like a percentage. That's fine, but basically to hold that name, that Quai has to remain locked. And then when the name is transferred, again through a new second price auction, that Quai then goes back to the holder. So if Matt and I are bidding, that would basically say, he bids 500, I bid 1,000. I would end up paying 500. That 500 would go into like the contract, and for as long as I hold the domain, that 500 would have to remain there into that setting. And it should be relatively freeform to do so that we don't necessarily have but you can yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Appreciate that. Yeah, so Rockster, I dropped my notes. I guess the only update to that would be, a second price auction for
so there's two parts. Like I said, you can take fee, which is fine for duration, but the second price needs to lock into the hold. So
right.
There's expense with squatting, and valuable domain expense.
Right. Okay. Just got a quick question on this. Not super familiar with second price auction domain. What if I'm the only person who wants this domain? Do I have to get somebody else to bid on my domain before I get it?
No. So it might be like a min floor that's like set for letters, and then like that's that day.
Okay. Cool.
Right. So with letters, like your min price, like 100 letters, it's 400. If it's 800, it's 800. About it.
Okay.
Something of the sort, or just like kind of base exponent. Because like the design really, and actually doubling probably isn't like adequate, but some concept like that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that helps. Thanks, Dr. K. Officer, glad to have you in the community. Hopefully you have on Nation. If you haven't, definitely check out the Getting Started channel. And I have my notes in here. You have it right from Mark as well. What we'd like to see an official Q&S implementation. So feel free to jump into the developer Discord, and we can continue the conversation there. There's a lot of folks who can help you out getting started and building on Quai. So let me drop that.
Yeah, so typically I'd say like for an auction, you need to leave kind of a 24-hour period open, obviously blocked. But then when like the clock sets,
Right.
or maybe it doesn't completely reset, but it extends.
Right.
So it's not like you're sitting there like at the end. It's like if someone bids near the end, it gives the window to bid. So that it truly exhausts itself.
Yeah. Appreciate that, Dr. That's pretty much all the questions for today, Dr. K. I did have one leaving thought for Jonathan, so that I got you. I was just reviewing program. Not only does it improve, but we're adding new opcodes. We're extending the amount of code that can be uploaded to the chain, and I believe there's a few more things going in. It's pretty great. I was wondering. We need yeah.
The code size goes from 4K to 32, and then the controller changes. They're like the main pieces. Oh, there's also some adders that are doing the P2P layer, which is going to make us robust against certain types of attacks. Yeah. This because the whole
Right. Oh, this is a pretty impressive upgrade. I believe we're currently testing it, but
we're trying to get this out the release with the tag.
I think we should come up with a name for it. I don't know why I didn't think of this before. But, we should.
Yeah, I was joking. It's like we were tagging the block numbers and it's like the increased code size thing. We're doing a bunch of other stuff. Right.
Loves on Quai.
Stuff all related.
Sure.
Our entry called the Dictionary Rocket.
That's a good.
We haven't thought of a name yet.
I have some time thinking on that.
Instead of cities, we should just rocket names. That'd be pretty funny.
Let's do it. I'm down. Let's ask you now, like what? How should these upgrades? Should rocket ships? What do you guys think?
Rocket ship names?
Yeah.
We're out of known rocket names that they'll get weird kind of fast.
Yeah, we might have to dip into science.
But you go to space, the spaceships will do real and fictional spacecraft.
Right. Star Trek, Star Wars. I never watched Battlestar Galactica.
It's funny. I start early on.
Oh, yeah, go back to nautical times. This is not the Mayflower. It's something else. I don't know what. Anyway, we got a lot going on. How do you get on in the back half of this? We're well over our. But did you have anything else you want to discuss with the community today? Christian, go.
I mean, just really, I guess, on kind of correct a little bit. Deflationary. Yeah, we went multiple cycles
Right.
But the real issue is there's not like a G market, like the rationality assumptions hold in left. So we've kind of figured out a way to bootstrap maybe more endogenous. So it'd be like an error correcting thing for spaces.
Out of all the things we have to do, we just keep fixing X. Anywho, I was yeah, so one chi in the protocol nets you like 56 Quai. One chi on Quai swap nets you 15 Quai. So I was just asking Jonathan to highlight, we have the unwrap chi functionality coming to Pelagus real soon. I dropped the smart contract for wrap chi down there. I just did it again in the chat. There is an unwrap function. That contract is live. I was able to get it working pretty easily. I can share some code in the developer server. But I think that's the hurdle right now for most people, Dr. K, is in order to take advantage of this arbitrage opportunity, they need to be able to unwrap their chi. So I'll be sharing some code out right after this, so folks can start sinking their teeth into it. But there's a huge opportunity right now, and there will still be an opportunity even post upgrade. This whole thing depends on rational markets.
Yep.
But dang, huge opportunity right now, folks. Apologies, we don't have this in your fingertips soon, or sooner rather than later. So Unwrap Cheat coming to Pelagus real soon. I'll be dropping some Quai's JavaScript for y'all in the developer server right after this, so you can start unwrapping your cheat. Now, keep in mind, it does incur a 2-week lockup.
Yeah, I think we're going to address that as well.
Do we think it's too long?
Allow people. No, we want to allow people to go directly from like wrap sheet to Qual.
Well, you can do it in the. Oh, you mean okay? I understand. In the smart contract wrap sheet will. Wait, how does it convert to Quai?
So right now it's a two-step process, which they each take 2 weeks to clear. So we're basically going to like create a one path that goes from wrap sheet to Qual.
Well, you can go from so like right now I can go from wrap sheet to Quai through Quai swap.
Yeah, but you can't do it in protocol.
Okay. Oh, I see. Like a protocol conversion rate from wrap sheet to Quai.
Yeah, I mean you have to go wrap sheet to chi, which takes 2 weeks, and then chi to Qual, which takes 2 weeks.
Right. Okay. I just, to me that's still like a 2-week lockup for profits, if Quai is stable, but I guess that's not something we can depend on. Okay, cool.
No, it's just harder to go from wrap sheet to Qual.
Yeah.
So, like at some point next, I think probably the next upgrade we'll add that. We're also seriously talking about 3-second blocks, so we just need to test that one more.
3-second blocks. Dang. All right. Man, a lot going on over here. Keep your eyes peeled for more updates.
I mean, the 3-second block thing is so that we can be compatible with interchange networks.
Oh, like the.
Even though like 5 to 8 seconds right now, the people we've talked to have told us that 5 to 8 seconds, in addition to the other delays in the like Visa MasterCard processing process, is like too much, right? So if we want to integrate into the terminals with like an interchange like Visa MasterCard, we got to get our processing time down even more.
Oh, because we effectively extend a Visa transaction at that point.
Yeah, I mean that's the idea, but they are targeting a 5 to 8 second window. So if we're 5 to 8 seconds, and we add another 5 to 8 seconds, it's too long.
Got it.
Right.
Okay.
But if we drop our block times down to 3 seconds, right, then our number kind of goes to 3 to 5 seconds, and that's more acceptable within their window. So it'll still be slightly longer.
Right.
And
so
average transaction, but maybe only by a second or two.
Right. So at the end of the day, if I'm tapping a card to pay in Quai and it goes through an interchange, it'll be 10 or 11 seconds at most compared to.
But you're adding the interchange delays into the blockchain delays.
Got it. That makes sense.
So the blockchain delays, if you're using that network, can't match. It has to be, a small interval relative to the total.
Ooh, okay. So that begs the question, what direction is the world heading towards? Is it on-chain?
I mean, from the data that we've seen from the network, we think we can do 3-second blocks regardless.
Sure.
The trade-off here is that the max throughput per shard will be less.
Oh, bummer. Oh.
So maybe it's going to be able to do 700 TPS, maybe that drops to 500 TPS. But given the fact that, getting integrated into, point of sale terminals like that would be a huge win for us.
Yeah.
And, 700 TPS versus 500 TPS is further down the road. We think it's an obvious, good idea.
Right. Okay. Well, that's super interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's other ways we can counterbalance it too, right? If we make the nodes more efficient, we can kind of make up for some of that loss in the TPS per shard. Right? You can, right now we have account access lists.
Right.
So we're set up to do parallelization in the VPM. We just haven't done it. But if you do parallelization, then, your processing times drop, which will increase your throughput per shard. There's a lot of optimization that can go on in the data store. So we could look at that as well. It's just not the highest priority to further optimize throughput per shard. So we're spending our time on other things, but we could circle back to it is my point.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's super interesting. Okay, right on. Well, thanks, Dr. K. What else you got for us today?
I think that's about it.
Well, that's a heck of a lot.
Yes.
Maybe we'll see a pretty cool name to an upgrade later today. Really looking forward to that. Any final thoughts before I wrap up here?
Yeah, maybe we'll throw the moon names in for our upgrades, or the spaceships. I guess you guys should vote. You like spaceships or you like moon names better? We actually were thinking about renaming the region's moon names at one point. We came up with a list of 16 as well.
He sure says spaceships.
There were some good ones, but the hard part is the Greek. So the total number that you can come up with is a little bit constrained, right? You can have things like Io and Titan, Luna apparently, but that's kind of a polluted name, obviously. That's actually the name of our moon. It's Luna.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, but we went through it. We came up with 16 pronounceable moon names, but ships are probably better. There's probably more than 16.
Well, should we need 16? That's a question.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
I want to flex here. We only need we could name it after the elements because we only need 5 upgrades.
Oh, this is the wind, fire, water upgrade?
Yeah, maybe. Final one is ether.
Yeah.
Jokes aside.
Okay. Let me get back to it. I gotta get this thing shipped today. So.
Yep. Absolutely. Really appreciate the time, Dr. K. Thank you so much for coming in here.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Man, you guys asked some great questions. It's always a fun time jamming with Jonathan and Dr. K. I learned a whole lot today. I feel more confident in my understanding of how the controller works and the changes that are coming down the pipe. Super excited for these changes as well. Guys, huge arbitrage opportunity out there right now. I'm going to drop some code. Better see somebody getting after it. I'm going to tell, I think it's Shikara's on point for the conversions dashboard. Some live conversions in that dashboard would be super cool to see. Great recommendation, cloners. Keep them coming. Sounds like the team's got a few more tricks up their sleeve in the future as well. But for now, that'll do it. That'll do it for us today. If you haven't heard about it, guys, Tangem hardware wallet. I'm pilled. I think this is the coolest hardware wallet that's ever existed. I've had a ledger for quite some time. Never messed with it. It's super expensive. It's a pain in the butt to use. This wallet looks super freaking cool, and you're getting it at a huge discount. So go check out quai.tangem.com. There are an extremely limited supply of Quai branded Tangem wallets. You definitely want to get your hands on this. Be a part of history, accelerating humanity with the world's first energy-backed global monetary system. Let's go build some rational markets, y'all. Let's get after it. If you're hanging out with us on X, we do this every Monday. We simulcast from Discord, so we'll be back next Monday as well. I won't, though. I will be over at WebEx Asia out in Tokyo. So keep your eyes peeled for some updates from Japan. Really looking forward to that. Let's see here. If you're new around here, definitely give the Quai Network account a follow. We got a lot of updates coming in hot. I'm talking sexes, I'm talking dexes, I'm talking bridges, and so much more. Toolkit integrations, unlocks like this Tangem hardware wallet, probably the best hardware wallet on the market, especially for that price point. Holy cow. I picked up a couple. Hopefully everybody else picked up more than one. Because you got to secure your bags, guys. Secure your bags. So if you're trying to get your hands on some Quai, there's many ways to do so. You can get some Quai pretty easily just by onboarding yourself onto Kipper, a great way to tip all your friends here in the crypto Twitter space. I think you can get like up to 20 Quai just for onboarding onto Kipper. Otherwise, you can purchase Quai at Mexi, Gate.io, or LBank. You can swap for Quai on Let's Exchange. And we're on the Kraken roadmap. So you're still early here at Quai Network. Really had a great time with you guys. Always do. If you do get your hands on some Quai, make sure you hop into the Discord and grab a roll. Quai Nation, it's where it's at. It's where all the alpha is. And I will catch you guys tomorrow on our Community Tuesday space. Hopefully, we can bring some more of the community up here and get some updates on everything that they're building. Maybe we found some folks who are conducting some arbitrage. Huge opportunities right now. Go get after it, folks. I will see you all on Tuesday. And thanks for spending the time with me today. See you guys. Bye-bye.